Today, we're bringing 5G. 5G, 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 5G is the 5G.
5G, 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 5G,
5G, 5G.
5G.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Think Different podcast. That's right, it's episode number 67. That's right, we have been up here 66 times, and we are going to be planning to go 66 more. Episode 67 here today, but this is a special episode today, because as you can see, we are on YouTube once more, because now we're using Zoom recording, and Zoom really is awesome. And now we can not only have a YouTube show, but we're going to have an audio show as always. But remember, if you don't know who we are former Apple genius creatives. We worked at Apple Retail. We have a combined score of over 20 years experience working at Apple Retail, and we're here to share our experiences and, of course, keep up to date with all the news that's going on in the world. My name is Will TLD, and sitting to my left, which is your left, it is Mr. Frank Funk. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, Will?
Nice
I'm good. How are you?
Nice tongue hat. Nice
Thank
tongue hat. You're welcome. But he's not by himself. No, we have someone very special with him today. It has been a long, long marriage time, I'm sure. But we have Mrs. Frank Funk here with us today, too.
Hi,
Mrs.
everybody.
Funk. So, and the reason why she's here today is because she is a proud owner of an iPhone 12 that Frank promised us that we were going to get some feedback. So we figure we have her on the show. I'm probably going to ask her a couple of questions just to get what kind of experience it's like to be an iPhone 12 owner, because I'm curious, because if you didn't hear last week's show, go listen to it, because I was pretty harsh on the product. I wasn't really a fan of it. I don't plan on upgrading to it. And I questioned a lot of things, which I think Frank also was like, Will's right. And I know I'm right, Frank. and it's true. But I want to hear from you guys. I want to know what your experiences have been like so far having an iPhone 12 compared to what did you have before this iPhone 12? 10. So explain to me so far your experience with the 12.
Well, number one, I like the square, the new square feature of the phone rather than the rounded feature.
And is it comfortable? Because a lot of people have said that they feel like it takes some getting used to with this new style. Or you feel like you've been adapted to it?
I think it's fine. I think the first time I held it in my hand, I thought it was heavier than my 10, but it really wasn't. You know, when I put them, in my hand, they were about equal.
Okay.
I do like it. I love that the battery life is much longer than the other one.
Have you changed your battery on the iPhone 10 since you've had it?
No.
Okay, that would explain why
No.
it's much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fact that you've had that phone for so long and you never changed your battery, first off, tells me the phone that lasted a long time for a battery never to be replaced. But also, too, from going from an iPhone even 10s, I had a 10s and I went to 11. You could experience the difference just from that. So I can only imagine going from what you had to a 12. I'm sure it's pretty significant. Which color can you show us which color you got?
Oh, I got right there.
Hold it up. You see
Oh,
there?
I got the blue.
Okay, blue. Okay, but
Yes.
is that a clear? You didn't get the clear case, right? Or did you get a different brand?
I bought the clear case, but it's very slippery. Now, when I put it on and just holding it on the couch, I dropped it 5 times.
Really?
I said,
Okay.
this is not for me.
Mm.
So I went with the navy blue silicone.
Okay. Yeah, silicone seems to be a popular choice.
I like the silicone. However, to me, I think they should have put something on the actual, the clear one on the sides. Give it a little more steady hold, because it just slips right out of your hand.
Mm.
But it does look nicer on the phone than covering it up.
Yeah.
That's my only downfall with it.
Are you able to press all the buttons on the side too? Because another complaint I've heard about the Clear was that it was a little bit harder to press the volume buttons on the side. Have you found that to be a little harder or not really?
I didn't even get to that point because I kept
okay.
dropping it.
Wow. Okay. Fair
So I
enough.
went right back up to the Apple store and exchanged it.
Gotcha. And how was the store when you guys went? Was it busy? Would you say it was not too bad?
I'd say it was relatively busy.
Okay.
I mean, for, the times that, I mean, they're doing everything by appointment,
Right.
but they do have things, they did have lines for people with walk-ins, and you would tell them what you were doing, and they would handle it over the phone, and then you'd go into the store and come back out. It was great.
They took your temperature.
They take your temperature at the door.
right at the door.
Mhm.
So
But other than that, it was a good experience.
And any other things about the phone? Now, you also have you started using the MagSafe at all? The wireless charging?
No,
Okay.
that I
Is
have
that,
not.
is that something you're going to use? Let's go with that.
I don't know.
Well, we have it. Okay. We have it, and I did buy two of them, two of the chargers. So the plan is that we'll either use the MagSafe at night when on the nightstand to charge it, have a full charge in the morning, or maybe have one downstairs during the day. If you want to charge it, you can do it that way. Now, last time we talked about the MagSafe, how you had read where it comes off easy.
Yeah.
When I put the MagSafe on here, on this iPhone 12, I picked the phone up and it stayed right on the device.
Okay.
So to me, I thought it was substantial enough. Now, it came off easy enough. I didn't have to pry it like you would think with a very, very strong magnet, but it was on there well enough where you didn't have to worry about it just falling off.
Wow. Interesting, because people have been saying that, yeah, if you like lift it up by the MagSafe, it seems to be okay. But if you like kind of like pulled it like diagonal, it's pretty easy to come off just based on the force. It sounds like is like the difference of it. So, but I think that people thought this would be stronger. Like it'd be a little bit harder to get off, and that's why I think it's a start point to where I think it's going to be something really great, and then you're going to find more things you could do. Like we talked about it, tripods are like probably the best example you could do is throw this thing on a tripod, but just by the MagSafe by itself, so that would be a pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
What else about the iPhone 12 have you experienced that some of the things you like about it?
I don't really use it that much. I love the camera. The camera is the biggest thing. That's why I really wanted it. I found it I haven't taken a lot of pictures, but in low light, pictures are very crisp. And during the day, I guess it was last Saturday, I took some pictures and on somebody's fence or at a picnic, and you could, just zoom in and, well, without zooming in, just pinch the screen and you could read everything on the sign. It was crystal clear. It's a much better camera.
Yeah, I'm sure compared to, again, going from a 10 to, I think a 12 was a humongous jump on there. Is there anything about the phone you think that they could improve on, something that you believe is missing that would really make this like the best phone possible? Or you think you have everything you need on it?
For me personally, I think I have everything I need. I'll be honest with you. I don't use the phone. I play my games. I'll be honest with you. I'm like the kids.
Would you is the loading time a lot faster as well? Would you say like the load time is pretty quick?
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. But I think that the fact that, Frank's been teaching me to put everything in folders, the fact that, I just got my new Apple credit card and doing all that stuff. And
so you're actually using Apple Pay? Are you going to
Apple Pay and how to Venmo from my Apple Pay to people that have an Apple Cash.
Well, it's not Venmo.
Well, it's basic Apple Cash.
Yeah,
Apple Cash.
Yeah.
That's about it, really.
Okay.
There's one. I guess the one feature is that you can put in your app library.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually just group everything, and then I don't have to scroll through for my apps. And if I think it's that I slide down, or if I slide down, it puts everything in alphabetical order. Yeah, or has everything in alphabetical order, and just tap on that. I think that's a great feature.
Yeah, that's actually available on everyone's phones, with the new iOS, and I love it too. I think App Library is great. Yeah. My only downside of App Library is when I add new apps, they don't go on the home screen. They go to like the last screen that technically is hiding right now for me.
Okay.
So it's a little that part's like more like on me because I'm making that decision. But if I go to the App Library, it's recently added anyway, so it's not like it's hard to find.
Right.
But that's like I almost want both, but I don't have both. So that that's selfish me. Now 5G. Do you guys have an area of 5G near you?
No.
So you don't get to use that feature. I mean, was that something that was important to you at all, or not really? Just like another thing that comes with the phone. But
it was just something that when it comes into our area, or when it's available, we'll use it. But it's just kind of like, that was like a secondary thing.
All right. And would you say that it's worth upgrading from an iPhone 10 up to the 12? Would you say that was worth the amount of money it was to do it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I don't always just go with the, like last year with the 11s, I was like, do I really need it?
Mm-hmm.
And I figured, okay, we'll wait one more year and see if they improve on the camera. That was my main feature, it's the camera.
Yeah, that's the reason why I went from a 10s to an 11, because for video reasons, they introduced the new wide-angle lens. So that's actually very convenient to have on there. That's the first time you're experiencing a wide-angle lens, which is really awesome to have. And that's why I went from there to the 11. But the 11 also had a tremendous battery life over the 10s. So there were like two real big things. I'm glad I did it. Like this year, again, not going to change my mind on that. I'm not going to get the 12, but also, how do you feel about Apple not including an adapter? Coming from, because me and Frank are just, we're all about Apple, but you're just kind of like an average.
Talking about.
Yeah.
I having to have, you had to buy one. I think it kind of stunk actually at the price of the phone. I mean, really. I mean, I think they should have included that. I mean, if they're retailing it for $20, come on.
Well, you got to remember, you already have the cables and the adapters in the home you could have used, but you weren't going to be able to take advantage of the fast charging. Correct. That was the difference. And for you don't believe Apple. You believe Apple should have included that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I really do. I mean, I think a lot of people think that. I mean, the price of the phone. I love Apple products. Don't get me wrong. I think it's much easier to use than any other phone. Mm-hmm. A lot of my friends have, the Galaxies and whatever, and I just find that very, I don't know, kind of tormenting actually to use.
And Frank made a point last week about the adapter that if it was a couple of years and you already had a bunch in the home, mm-hmm. I think your stance probably would change. That you say, well, I already have 5 of them in the home. Do I really need another one?
Right.
But you don't have one at all. You don't
exactly.
have it. And that's the problem. The only thing you have is your MacBook Pro if you have a USB-C on it. I have one because I have an iPhone 11. It came with the iPhone 11 Pro. Okay. So that's it. And I was explaining to him only 2 products in Apple's history has this one. It's the iPad Pro and then the iPhone 11 Pro. Not even the regular 11 has it. And now they remove the adapter out of every box. So now every box doesn't have one. So, I mean...
Although the new iPad Air has one.
Yes, it does.
It's just kind of weird.
Yeah, what's the reasoning for it?
That is a great Apple question to talk to the woman that was on the roof during the keynote, but I have no idea why. That they're making like the decision based on what kind of product you get. And that's what makes it weird. I could get it for the iPhone 11, the 10R, and the SE because they don't have fast charging. So it doesn't matter. And everyone in their homes has a USB adapter, I'm sure, in their home. But when it comes to this Pro model and the MagSafe charger and all that, like those things should have came with one because of the USB-C. And that's why it should have came with it.
Okay.
So that's my argument of that. Well, thank you for sharing that. I'm glad that you talked about the iPhone 12. Just getting a feedback from someone that's more of an average user, not me and Frank because we're nerds. So that's why. Thank you for sharing that. Now I have my own experience too, because I had a pretty bad pair of iPod Pros, and they were giving me the static noise. The noise reduction wasn't that great, so I was going to go to the store and get them swapped. But I figured, you know what? Let me ask Apple support. So I had a conversation with them. Now the way they do it is, if you're going to do a chat through your iPhone, they come through like the Messages app. Okay. And you have the conversation through like Messages. So it's like you don't have like if you go to other brands, they typically have their own chat window. It's like a small window on a website.
Sure.
Apple does it right in Messages, which is so convenient, which means you can walk, you could do other things and the message still comes through, which is great. And you can have the chat conversation right there in your phone at the end. So I explained to them all my problems I'm having. Apparently this is a known issue that they're having this static problem. And they swapped both AirPod Pros for me. I was under the warranty. I talked to them Monday, I would say a little bit early Monday morning. I got them the next day,
Wow.
like really quick. So they did priority overnight, and I just swapped the 2 AirPod Pros out. I put the old ones in the box. The FedEx label's already on there. Shipped it back, and the new pair I have sound amazing compared to what I had. So I had a really good experience with Apple support. I'm going to recommend anybody, if you have an Apple Watch, AirPods Pro, Beats, you don't need to go to an Apple store. And we've talked about that, Frank, many times.
Yeah. Now, did they correct the problem in future manufacturing ones, or is it? I mean, is it just in like a certain range of serial numbers where they had the problem, or?
Can't say. I don't work there, so I couldn't tell you. But I did get a little insight from a genius that did tell me that there is a known issue about the static noise, and he told me specifically to swap out both pairs, because apparently both pairs are affected by that kind of problem. And also there was if you remember, there was like a firmware update where people were complaining that the AirPods noise reduction wasn't as good anymore, and Apple hasn't really corrected it. It's a small amount of users, but I could just tell from these pair of AirPods I have, they sound so much better than the old pair. Like even before I was having the static problem. So something was definitely happening to them. But I'm glad I'm under the year warranty. And heck, if you're not under the year warranty, all you got to do is tell them that your battery's not doing well, and they have to swap them because they have no test to prove it. Yeah.
I have never had a really bad experience with Apple support. I had a problem with my watch 3 years ago. And apparently I didn't know there was a recall on the battery because they were heating.
It was a swollen battery?
It was a swollen battery, but I didn't know that. And Frank and I were talking, and I said, I hate to get a new watch. When I went into the Apple store, they checked it, and I was 45 days out of warranty. And I was like, all right, figures. So I came home, and I called 1-800-APPLE. And I spoke to a woman and told her exactly what happened. And I didn't mention that Frank worked for Apple. I was just, a consumer, And the only thing I said to her was that I was very disappointed in Apple, that I was 45 days out of warranty and they wouldn't do it. And she said, I'm sorry. And I said, that's okay. You did all you could. Have a good day. And I hung up. 5 minutes later, my phone rang and she called me back and she said, I thought about what you said. You weren't nasty. And I talked to somebody. As we speak, I'm putting a thing for FedEx. And the next morning, it was on my porch. I sent my watch back, and they fixed the battery and put it back in. And, it's still running today.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's a great story.
It was a great experience. Really.
Well, how many times, Will, did we see at the Genius Bar, or even customers when I was on the sales floor, if somebody's nice to you and understanding the situation, the person, you go the extra yard for that person. You say, well, maybe I can, do something. Somebody comes in ranting and raving and like telling you this or that, you're automatically on the defense and you're going to say, well, hey, that's, I'm sorry, that's the policy,
Yeah, it happens quite frequently. I would say probably like once a day or definitely once a week, you would have some kind of experience, whether it's someone yelling at you or not happy about it.
Sure.
Really, the idea of our stance is always this: every product that you own that's electronic has some kind of warranty on it, and it's your responsibility. It's your responsibility to know when your warranty is. I hate to say it, but you have to know when your warranty is.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, and when it comes to the store, like for your situation, if a battery is imploding, I'm surprised they didn't take care of it right there, only because that's a quality program issue. Anytime there's a swollen battery in a product, we typically take care of it. So the fact that was the string cracked at all? Did you
Nothing. It just
separated?
It just lifted, completely lifted. It was on my arm and it lifted.
Now I would have told you that. I honestly think the person in the Apple store kind of failed you though. in a way, because they should know that that was swollen and they should have sent that out for repair.
Well, when I asked the person at the Apple store, he had said, well, we had a recall on these. And
Oh,
I said, if there was a recall, I never got a recall.
I
So
see.
how was I to know?
That's
And
true.
he said, well, instead of buying a battery, you could just buy a new phone. And I said, you know what? I'll just take my watch with me and I'll call up 1-800-Apple and see what they can do for me. And that's what I did.
Yeah, that seems a little, but
But-
that seems a little strange, right, Frank? Would you say that
Yeah.
they should have been offering her something?
Yeah.
I mean, for watches, they always have to go out. So actually going to the Apple store with an Apple Watch is like one of the, I would tell you from now on, never do. Obviously, I don't think you would because based on
Right.
your experience that you had, but you never need to go to a store for an Apple Watch ever, 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 ever. Unless it's like a, I can't even think of a situation, Frank, that they would have to go there.
No.
I can't even think of one. So that's my feedback experience. Use Apple support, especially on your phone. I think it's really easy. We had a great experience. Obviously, both of us had a great experience on that. So I would definitely do that. But I forgot to talk about This Week in History because a very, very special product came out this week on October 23rd of 2001. What product is that, Frank?
That's the iPad
iPod.
Classic.
iPod.
iPod Classic.
It's
iPod,
the iPod, just iPod, okay? The first generation iPod with the slogan of 1,000 songs in your pocket. And they
That's
went on
it.
sale November 10th of 2001, which featured a 5 gig hard drive and was priced at $399.
yeah.
Isn't that amazing that we used to pay $399 to hold 1,000 songs in our pocket?
I think we still have one.
Yeah. Hold on
Yeah,
to
we
it.
do.
Hold on to it. Don't get rid of that.
I think we do.
Now, I never had the first generation product. I was introduced to it with the fourth generation, I believe, when they had the click wheel version. So that's the one I had that I first started with, which is like, and then they came out with the YouTube version, which was a big deal. But that's what I started out with was the fourth generation one, which was pretty cool. I mean, Frank, which one did you start with?
Actually, I bought this one for my daughter,
Classic.
and I brought it home. And being a good father, I had to test it. So I put some songs on it, and then I saw a thing on there that said games. And I was like, well, what kind of games? And it started, it would play a snippet of a song, and you would have to guess which song it was from a multiple choice. And I saw it, and I was like, this is pretty cool. So I went back to get one for me, and they didn't have any more of these, but they did have one that was it had a color screen on it.
So, that would be the fourth generation is the one that started the color screen. I'm gonna rewind what I just said. I had a third generation. That was the first one because that was when the click wheel had the buttons on it. I think it started with that one. So I'm trying to remember which one I had. I don't know if it was a third or fourth. I'm trying to remember which one it was.
Yeah.
But I believe it was a fourth gen. If I'm, I don't know, whatever. I had a third gen. That's what I'm going to go with. It was one before the Nano came out. So, and that's when they came out with the new 30-pin dock. Because remember, the third gen had a 30-pin dock for the first time. And who would have thought that would have taken off the way it did? Because they started off with Firewire, old school Firewire. And then it's amazing that didn't even last that long. If you really think about the lifetime of mobile devices, that 30-pin connector didn't last as long as, the Lightning connector.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. The Lightning connector, I mean, I guess now they're just starting to phase it out. And that's got to be, how many years now?
Oh,
The
God.
Lightning.
It's probably been since like 2009, 2010 since we've had one. So it's been a while. But, now they discontinued that model. It's no longer around. But I got to tell you, when this iPod came out, what a monumental change this was for Apple. I feel like this was the start of it. And then when iTunes was paired with that, forget it. It was and you're right. The games on that is such a small thing that people forget. Like they had like a Sonic game on there. They had the Worm game on there. There were games that you could download and buy. I think Pac-Man was an option. Tetris was an option. Like, you could buy those games and put them on the iPod, and it was awesome to have it.
Yeah, it truly was. what the Walkman should have been.
Yes. Well, it was the next generation of the Walkman. I mean, there's
Yep.
no way. It's what an MP3 player should have been in the first place.
Yes.
That's what I look at it as. Let's continue forward, though, because Apple's doing something pretty new here. We kind of brought it up a couple episodes ago, but Apple is expanding a new Express store for iPhone 12 launch and holiday shopping. So there's a picture online showing like a big barrier of blocking like an Apple store, which has these glass frames, and it has like a couple products in the front. The idea is that you walk up there, you just buy what you want and you leave. That's really the idea. And they have a barrier between the employee, obviously for COVID reasons. So this is like the new version. If you remember, Frank, what was it called? Holiday shopping.
The Express checkout.
Express checkout. So there was no way you would know, by the way, if you walked in there, who was the Express checkout. We would just point you to a table. Now they have these actual stations set up that are this is actually not happening at every Apple store. But the idea is that they come in there to pick up a product or receive customer service, and they still need to make an appointment for it, though. That is still necessary for it. So, Frank, have you seen a picture of the Express?
I have. It looks pretty good. I'm just imagining where they would put it, like in Quaker Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
I know where I would put it, but
Well, explain to me. Where would you put it?
I would, at Quaker Bridge, the area that is really underutilized is the area right into front windows there.
Yeah.
Right in the front of the store.
There are a couple of stores that have this new neon like signage.
Yeah.
Was there signage at your store when you went there, or no? Was it still empty?
No
It was
signage.
not.
Yes, and that was Freehold, right? You went to?
No.
Quaker Bridge.
Quaker Bridge.
Oh, you went, so did everybody enjoy seeing you again?
Yeah.
Were they asking for me? Because I know they have been. Oh, wait, they couldn't.
There was like Barb had said, it was pretty busy. So we were kind of like just returning something, picking up the chargers, and we'll kind of see you all later and that kind of thing. But
And you didn't bring me up, Frank?
Hey, you could come up
Hey.
anytime you want.
Well, you didn't invite me, Frank.
Hey, you still owe me a lunch from that Dallas loss.
Which one? Which one are you talking about, Frank? There's so many to pick from. Okay.
Well,
But look on the bright side. At least I know I am not out of the division.
yes, that's true.
And we are in second place with a 2-5 record.
Yeah. At least you don't have a tie.
How pathetic is that?
Pretty damn pathetic, actually. And not to mention, one of our wins shouldn't have even been a win to begin with. And now we have a third string quarterback from the AFL that's going to be taking Andy Dalton's place. So
Andy
That's
Dalton is out. Did they
He's
say
out.
he's
yeah, he's got a
Concussion?
concussion protocol, so they got to take him out for a game. So
Hmm.
honestly, he probably doesn't even want to go back in. He's arguing with the offensive line. The offensive line is one of the worst in football history, and no one can get a freaking ball off with that offensive line. So
Wow.
nothing's going to happen. But I'd be curious to see this Apple Express in front and in person. I think it's going to be in the bigger stores. I don't think it's going to be in the smaller ones. I
Yeah.
think the mall stores could handle this. It looks like from what I'm looking at and what I've kind of read, this is definitely piloting in a couple of the bigger stores, but not any of the mall ones from what I see.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
Well, they had checkpoints at Quaker Bridge right at the corner. As you turn the corner, from the entrance there,
yeah,
you had a checkpoint starting right there. So they had Chris was out there just waiting for people to come into the line, and he would direct you to another station depending upon what you wanted to do.
yeah, it really requires you to tell people where to go here, especially that everything's appointment wise. You can't just walk into the store anymore.
No, they took your temperature before you went into the store.
Mhm. I mean,
They had
do they have security? Yeah.
Yes.
So see, they have, that's a lot of investment of time that they have to do to
Yes.
make sure not only the employees safe, but the customers are safe. And they're still shorthanded. They're still working at a half volume in those stores, and some of them are still working at home. In fact, some people are permanently working for AppleCare now.
Yeah.
So from some of the LinkedIn pages I'm seeing. on there. And to end today's wonderful session, we're going to stick with the Apple Store a little bit because Apple is providing Genius Bars and Apple authorized service providers with a new heated display removal for the iPhone 12 and the iPhone 12 Pro repairs. And what they're doing is that it's a heating. They have to heat up the display because the IPA is so strong that you can't peel it off anymore. And now the only way to do it is that it has to sit in a tray for about 2 minutes to warm it up, which will then loosen it by twisting it with a suction cup and then taking it off. So a new procedure for the iPhone 12.
Now, once they, or if they replace it, if you guys have to replace it, then does it have to go into the calibration machine?
Well, remember, the calibration machine doesn't really exist anymore. It's now a piece of software. Remember that? They have now gotten rid of that. That's only for iPhone 6s and I think like 6Ss, but beyond that, all of them now work with the software now, which is great because those machines were expensive, annoying, and the fact that they made it into a software version makes it so much better on that. But iFixit.com actually did a breakdown of it, and they had to use, since they don't have one of those elements, they used a hairdryer to take it all off, but they had to do it for a while. So it is pretty intense to get this to work. There's a picture online floating around on Twitter. I believe I saw the fixture. It's in this Mac Rumors article. And you can see it's like a pretty heavy piece of device here that looks like it's going to heat up the element to get it out. So each store probably needs about like 2 or 3 of these.
Yeah, I would think. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. That's interesting. It'd be, yeah. Well, hopefully they won't need it too often because they won't need to take them apart.
Now, do you have Apple Care on your iPhone 12?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, if it's interesting. So if you have an out of warranty repair cost, it's $279 to fix that screen. For all other damage, such as a cracked rear glass, the repair fee is $449 for the iPhone 12 and $549 for the iPhone 12 Pro.
Wow.
Yeah. Aren't you glad you got Apple Care? You think?
Absolutely.
It never gets cheaper, Frank. It only goes up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we always get Apple Care. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you know what else I noticed on the website when I was purchasing it? For, I think it's $8 more a month, you can join a program.
The
What's
theft
that?
program. The theft program.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it also entitles you, when the new phone comes out next year, it's just an automatic upgrade.
Right.
So I was thinking about that, and I thought, I don't know. I have to think about that some more. But the theft and loss, yeah.
Now, I have never lost an iPhone, so I think I'm pretty responsible with that. I'm always on my technology. I feel like that. I'm glad Apple offers it as an option, but I don't think I would ever do it. Now, if I had a kid that was irresponsible, which hopefully in about 13 years when the iPhone 20 comes out, that the kid that I have will be responsible and not lose it. But that someone like him, I might have to put that on him, as an example.
Yeah.
So this is interesting. I think it's another tool that they have to deal with as far as fixing it. People, iFixit.com says iPhone owners should have the ability to repair their own phones. If the new phone design requires a fixture to repair, Apple should sell it to their customers. What do you think of that, Frank?
I think that's a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah.
You're going to have people that they're going to find a way to burn themselves and then sue Apple no.
Well, you void your warranty immediately when you open it yourself. Not to mention, there's so many third-party stores you can go to now. You have Best Buys and so many other stores that get these done. They're all going to be able to repair this. And by the way, repairs for iPhone 12 won't take place for a couple of weeks because, as you know, Frank, when new devices come out, they don't exactly have all the parts. They don't have everything in stock. And they're not ready for it. So usually if your phone breaks within the first week, you're typically going to be getting a swap. You're just going to pay the price of whatever it costs for that specific repair.
Yep. So far, nothing. It's working fine. Everything's really good. In fact, when we set it up, we did have to call Apple support because it would not connect to AT&T.
Oh, shocker!
And so we called, and
Apple support contacted AT&T, put us on a third-party call.
so the three of us were on the call together, and I mean, they were really super. Apple was anyway, and the guy at AT&T, he wasn't at first. He was like, "Well, what do you mean?" And the guy says, "You need to make sure that the SIM is on the account." And so we had to give him the SIM number of the new device, and you could hear him clicking away in the background, and he did something, and just like that, it went through. And I said, "Okay, we're good to go."
I did like how fast everything transitioned over from my old phone to my new phone. And I
that's
didn't have to wait
iCloud.
hours.
Yeah, iCloud is
It was wonderful.
for me. It would have been a long time because of the amount of stuff I have on my phone. I have I have a 512 gig iPhone. I only have about like 70 gigs of room left on it. That's how many photos I have in the cloud.
Yeah.
That's why I need a 2 terabyte plan. But a lot of it's video because I have so much video on my phone because I'm a videographer. So naturally, I kind of go to the video more than the photo. But yeah, that's great. That's good to hear that it was that quick. I'm a little surprised. Now, are you on the iPhone upgrade program or what? How are you guys doing it? Are you buying it out at full price?
No, it's I guess full price, but we're on the. It's going to charge us. What was it? $52 a month.
$52 a month per phone.
So you're on the iPhone payment plan?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Through the Apple Card, so we got the 3% back.
Mm-hmm. Do you know how much that equals? Because you should have gotten that right away. Or is it per? Oh, it's only per. You're doing it per month, so
yeah,
you won't know. Okay.
And
But I'm surprised the SIM card didn't activate right away, though. That's a little surprising.
When I ordered the phone, it says, "Do you want this activated when you get the phone?" I said, "Yes." So it should have.
So
it should have.
Okay.
But,
Interesting.
But like you were talking about Apple support earlier, I would highly recommend to anybody for any iPad, iPod, iPhone, put the Apple support app on your device. I mean, they get back to you like that.
Yes, and not to mention, I'm surprised it's not on every phone. The Apple Store app is, but not Apple support, which I'm like surprised they don't do that.
Yeah,
I really am.
Yeah, I think there was some legality why they couldn't do that. But I used to tell everybody in the sessions, put this app on your phone.
Yeah, I could tell you during the Genius Bar, I absolutely did that as well. Especially when it came out, we were pushing that hard.
The biggest thing that I liked about it was you could chat with them right away, or if you, instead of, how many people tell you I was on hold for an hour, right?
Yep.
You could. It takes your number because it knows what number you're calling from, and it'll say, "Well, if you want, we'll call you back."
Yep.
And they call you back in, whether 10 or 15 minutes, whatever it is, or you can set up a time for another day that you're available. And they do. They call you back whenever you make that appointment. They really have a nice setup there.
Yeah. I compare it to Amazon support. I think Amazon is just as good as Apple support on there. So I would put them as the two best that I've ever dealt with. Maybe, and Disney's more so just person to person. But yeah, so I really think that they are one of the best supports you'll ever have out there. Not DJI. Don't go to that support. That support sucks. Yeah. So don't buy DJI products. I want you to, but don't buy their support plan. So anyway, I want to thank you guys for joining us for another episode of the Think Different podcast. It was good to have you guys on to talk about the iPhone 12. And then Frank is awaiting his iPhone 12 Pro.
Yep.
He's waiting for that. We got a couple of weeks before we get to see that. And then Frank will talk about his experiences, and maybe he'll wear his tongue hat again.
Maybe.
There you go. Thanks for having me.
Of course. I want to thank you guys for joining us here on the YouTube channel if you're watching us on here, because we're on YouTube again. Otherwise, yes, you could join us every Friday for our podcast. We have a great time doing it. Next week, though, we have a special guest coming on our show, someone who we both started out with back at Apple back in 07, 08. She has her own podcast going on now. We want to bring her on and describe not only her podcast, but her experiences. So hopefully if everything works out scheduled, we're going to have her on next week. So stay tuned for that. And she worked at Apple for about 4 to 5 years in both tier 2 support and in the Apple Store. So stay tuned for that. I want to thank you for another great episode of the Think Different podcast. As I drink my Zevia. Sponsor us.
5G is the 5G